Hello everyone, so I have an update here on the drone or missile strike at Toropets which we've covered in the past couple of videos. So, we now have satellite imagery of the facility and the aftermath. I did share them on my Patreon page yesterday, but I thought it definitely worth a look going through them with a video. On screen now, as with before, you can see it consists of a number of hardened concrete structures, each of which is reported to store up to 240 tons of ammunition. 30,000 tons in total are stored here. Now the aftermath. So you can see smoke pouring from at least two of these concrete bunkers, highlighted in red here. There's also a great deal of smoke coming from the edges of the surrounding forest. This is likely where the missiles and shells landed after the cook-off. However, the smoke is that thick in places, it's hard to tell if more structures are burning as well. The one highlighted in blue here looks promising. There's a great deal of smoke from that region, and it's hard to tell for certain, but it does look like some of this smoke is emanating from the ground near one of the bunkers, so it could be another bunker was hit here. We do need to wait for the smoke to clear and more satellite imagery to be certain. This is the two bunkers highlighted here which were destroyed, and possibly the other one just to the top right hand side of them. Here is a zoomed out view which shows how thick the smoke is. As you can see, this smoke is too thick to see through really, and given the extent of the fires, it does definitely look like we could be looking at more bunkers and buildings destroyed here. Our next image is here. So, lots of fires around the edge of the facility, but again, the smoke's too thick to tell if anything was destroyed in the middle of all this smoke. This is quite important, because if we turn to a photo from earlier this year, you can see that Russia made the genius decision to leave crates of ammunition out of the open in this area, rather than inside, where it's more protected. Now, this is likely carelessness, but it could just be that there's so much ammunition to be stored here that all of the warehouses you can see scattered around, as well as the hardened bunkers, were full. So Russia had no choice but to leave these out in the open like this. The smoke we saw completely engulfed these areas, so I do think it very likely that, as well as the two destroyed hardened bunkers we saw, that the ammunition here, if it was out in the open, was destroyed as well. Maybe even the softer warehouses as well that you can see on these images. Now, I may be wrong here, but I think it possible that the big important missiles were kept in those concrete structures we saw, and regular ammunition stored in these crates outside on warehouses, which aren't as secure or as well protected. And I do think these are ammunition storage warehouses that you can see, because they are spaced quite far apart for protection. So if one of them has a detonation, it won't destroy the nearby ones. Another image is here, showing another section of the base. So, you can see 8 fires burning here, but given the smoke, we can't tell for certain what they are. Also highlighted, you can see one of the warehouses is peppered with holes. No fire near it, so maybe it was empty, or maybe this may not have had ammunition stored here at all, but it was rather used for something else. These holes here, they look like they could be shrapnel that hit it, and debris from the detonations from the main bunker. Here, a comparison image shows the before and after. So the heat spots are highlighted in the areas in red. This could be caused by debris from the explosions such as falling munitions and the like. Other than the white building which is full of holes, these don't really look like they would be key targets here. But again, we will have to wait for satellite images once Russia manages to put the fire out, which, given the size of it, could be by the time Winds of Winter is released, so we may be waiting a while. Very quickly before we move on to the next part of the video, I'm going to play a small video clip moments before the impact. So that definitely sounds like a jet engine rather than a standard drone. It's been speculated to be a Palianytsia jet-powered drone. There appears to be two versions of these that were made by Ukraine, one of which looks to be inspired by the British Banshee drone, shown here in an image by H.I. Sutton, and which is said to have a range of around 200 kilometers or so, and a different version shown here, which resembles a small cruise missile combined with a drone. This one is said to have a longer range, so I think it likely it was this used here. If so, then they were certainly successful, not only getting past Russia's air defence, admittedly not a difficult task, but hitting the targets accurately and penetrating the bunkers. But again, we do need to wait for more information so we can confirm this, and I will do an update if we get more information. Now, a Brucey bonus for you. So I was going to do this yesterday as a video on its own, but since it's related to ammo dumps and the like, I figured I would tack it on the end of this video as well. So a couple of days ago, this photo here was shared online showing a Ukrainian strike at an ammunition warehouse near Mariupol. You can see there's a lot of smoke coming from the site, so it looks like a big strike. Well, we now have photos from the scene and satellite imagery. Here are the photos first. So, you can see lots of debris and wreckage from the destroyed warehouses and buildings, but more importantly, we can also see the remnants of artillery shells littering the area. So, a nice little strike by Ukraine here that hit ammunition storage. I can't tell how much was here exactly, but let's check the satellite image. On screen now is the before, so the strike was in this area here. And now, here is the aftermath. So you can see clear signs of burning over quite a large area here. This looks like the ammunition was just stored out in the open. Now, this actually wasn't the only ammunition dump destroyed by Ukraine here. Here's another before image. So a forest situated alongside a small river. And here, the aftermath again. So you can see signs of fairly large fires inside the forests on both sides of the river. It could be there's just one ammo dump here, and the other fires were caused by the cook-off and falling munitions. But I think this looks like two separate strikes on each side of the river, hitting two different ammo dumps. And wait, that isn't all I have for you. There's a third ammunition dump hit by Ukraine in this region. So let's check it out. On screen is the before. So this is near a fairly large compound consisting of a bunch of buildings and warehouses. However, here's the aftermath. So that big warehouse on the compound actually appeared to be untouched, but with signs of burning around them. The interesting spot is circled in red. You can see a big plume of smoke rising from a small structure. This looks to be the target here, rather than the large cluster of buildings. Can't say for sure if these large clusters of buildings were used by Russia or not, but they definitely weren't targeted. These are all shown here, the locations on Google Maps. So it's 3 ammunition dumps centered around Mariupol. Technically 4, as 2 of them were near each other but on opposite sides of a river. Let's zoom out. So, these were likely transported from Rostov, stored here, and then intended to be moved north to support Russian operations in the key area of Vuhledar. But I guess we won't be getting there now. There isn't any confirmed word as to what actually hit these sites, whether drones, ATACMS, or a different missile type. But quite a few sources online are reporting it was a missile, but doesn't say whether it was Neptune or ATACMS. But certainly, successful strike here. 3 separate targets, or 4, possibly, and a lot of the ammunition destroyed in this area. So, in this strike at Mariupol, we saw that it appears to be artillery shells of different types which were mainly stored here. We don't know how much exactly, but with 3 different areas getting hit, I'm going to stick my neck out and say it appears to be a hefty amount. Now, how much of an effect this is going to have on Russian operations in Vuhledar, we can't say yet. We are going to have to wait and see and keep an eye on the area. The strike on Toropets was a massive one of the biggest strikes of the war it seems. Said yesterday to be missiles including Iskander, missiles sent by North Korea, S-300, Muffin, stop making noise, as well as mortar rounds and grad rockets. So a pretty hefty collection there. We've seen a fair few ammo dumps getting hit by Ukraine lately, and not many oil refineries or oil depots. A switch in targets maybe now? And maybe now that I've said that, we will see an oil depot or oil refinery get hit tomorrow, so I've jinxed it. I'll do an update if we get one. I'm sure we'll get satellite imagery soon of the damage at Toropets, as well as confirmation as to whether it was these new Ukrainian jet drones used, or something such as Storm Shadow or ATACMS. So that's it for this video. Some good little interesting strikes here by Ukraine, hitting Russia's ammunition storage pretty hard. Now, before I finish, I'm going to play a video from Cars for Ukraine about the ongoing fundraiser of them. The donation information is in the description. Thanks so much to everybody who's helped out, and take care, everybody.
Hello, Sukamaimus audience. Ivan from Car for Ukraine here. Thank you very much for supporting the Medics campaign. 2 of the cars are already in Lviv and we are preparing them to be sent to the front line as soon as possible. In the meantime, you definitely know about the Kursk operation where 3 of our cars, we've managed to verify, that are actively participating there. And we've received an urgent request that we hope to make a Blitz campaign out of it to get 2 super-powered trucks to the front line over there. Check out carforukraine.com/campaigns to learn more. Thank you, and together to our shared victory.